Hello and welcome to Driver's Seat. Today we're taking a look at Hyundai's latest 5-door family hatchback, the i30. Now this is the third generation i30 and it's stiffer and lighter than the car it replaces, gets fresh looks and more technology. At launch it comes with 3 engines to choose from, 2 petrol and a diesel, and is available in 5 trim levels. So let's see if the changes that Hyundai have made make this a winner on the road. So those trim levels are made up of S, SE, SE Nav, Premium and Premium SE. The entry-level petrol is a 1 litre 3-cylinder 120 PS, which is turbocharged, while the range topper on the petrol is a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder, also turbocharged and 140 PS. On the diesel front there's a 1.6 litre turbocharged, 110 PS. All engines come with a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard, although there's also a 7-speed DCT dual clutch gearbox available on everything apart from the entry-level trims. The i30 is available from £16,995 in the 1 litre S trim lineup and top out at £24,745. We're testing the 1.4 litre with a 6-speed manual gearbox in premium trim. So that's not range topping, but this thing's absolutely packed full of kit. On the safety side, you get autonomous braking, smart cruise control, lane keep assist, driver attention alert, and blind spot detection, which is fantastic. On the technology side, there's a 8-inch touchscreen satellite navigation system, which has got Bluetooth, Apple Play, and wireless charging. While there's dual zone climate control, you also get part leather seats, and these are electrically controlled. They have lumbar support as well. The electric controls are simple and easy to use and offer a huge range of adjustment. And there's also a tilt function as well. Combine that with a steering wheel that has a good combination of reach and tilt, and you should be able to get pretty comfortable in here. In the lowest seat setting, I've got loads of headroom. I've also still got a good view out. The only slight restriction on the view is the rear roof pillar, which is quite large, but there's a reversing camera to help you out when maneuvering backwards. There's 3 dash colours to choose from: black, grey and blue. This is the black version and it's quite neat and tidy. The instrument binnacle is exactly that. It's very clean, very easy to use and read. There's also a computer screen which shows your trip computer, some navigation and controls for the autonomous systems. The infotainment system in the centre of the dash has got a nice black gloss surround, some shortcut buttons to navigate a little bit quicker. It's quite clear, simple and easy to use, as is the map to follow. It's got Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay as well, and the whole system looks a little bit like the old Game Gear from the 90s that it's just been plonked on the centre of the dash. But it's nice and high up and you don't have to take your eyes too far off the road to read it. The rest of the dash is quite mature, I'd say. It feels very grown up in here. Top of the dash is soft to touch and the rest is harder plastics, but they feel solid and robust. The controls are clear, simple, easy to use, have quite a nice damping to them, but it all feels very mature. There's plenty of storage in here. The door bins are really well sized and will take a bottle of water, while in the center console there's this flip up cover that has the wireless charging auxiliary points and USB connector. In the middle there's a slide cover that unveils 2 cup holders, and then the armrest doubles as a central storage bin. The glove box is decently sized as well. In the back, headroom's very good. Leg and knee room are pretty decent, although with my driver's seat in the lowest sitting position, the foot space was slightly restricted. However, you get door bins that again will take a bottle. There's a drop down central armrest with 2 cup holders, and thanks to a very small transmission tunnel, you can get 3 across quite happily, although it's a little bit tight on width, so I don't think larger adults would want to be there for too long. Open the rear hatch and you get a good sized boot opening, a small lip, and it's pretty low as well, so that will help loading heavier items. The boot floor is flat and adjustable, so you can change that from having little of a lip to having a deeper boot. If you don't adjust the floor, keep it in its higher position, then there's some underfloor storage. While at the sides there's also 2 cubbies and a bag hook. The 1.4 litre under the bonnet generates 138 brake horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. Now that is officially enough to get it from 0 to 62 miles an hour in 8.9 seconds. Economy wise, it'll return 52.3 miles to the gallon on an official combined cycle and emit 124 grams per kilometre of CO2. Now, to get those figures as low as possible, you need to go for the entry level 1.6 litre diesel. That'll return 74.3 miles per gallon and emit 99 grams per kilometre. So what's the i30 like to drive? Well, the most impressive part of this is the ride quality. It's not soft, but it's coping with everything that I'm throwing at it. Small undulations, big bumps, no problem, just smoothed away. And it's not done in a soft, horrible, wallowy way where you're bouncing down the road and rolling all over the place. It has a feel of quality, very much like a Volkswagen Golf. Handling wise, there is a little bit of roll into the corner, but it's really well controlled. And the damping's superb, so it comes back down and settles very quickly. You never feel like you're lurching over the edge. The steering's nicely weighted. It's not light, but it's not too heavy. And it's also very accurate, so you put trust in it for the next corner that where you tell it you want to go, it will go. Front end grip's pretty decent. There is a little bit of slippage when you're pulling away from a junction in damper conditions, but it's easily controlled if you don't be too heavy on the accelerator. It's not quite as engaging to drive as, say, a Seat Leon FR, but it's not far off the mark. That combination with ride comfort, I don't think it's going to put too many smiles on your face when you're hurtling around some lanes and B roads, but it's not going to fall off the road either. It handles very, very neatly, if not quite enough to engage the keener of drivers. But wait a second, there's a sporty version coming later in the year, and it's called N, and it's Hyundai's first hot hatch that's going to come out, and it promises to be very, very good from the signs of what this car's already delivering. You need to get the engine above 2,250, 2,500 revs per minute for it really to kick on, and it does hit a cliff of power. There's not too much before that. It's a little bit lackluster, but then it picks up very quickly and will accelerate smoothly up to the red line at 6,500. Now, you also don't need to do too much gear shifting. If you're pulling out of a slower speed area, you're in 4th or 5th, it will pick up quite happily from mid-range torque. It's very flexible. Away from junctions, this can be a little jerky, but the gearbox is really sweet. It's got a very short throw to it, and again has that reassuring feel of quality that clunks into gear very nicely. The clutch feels quite interesting. It's quite well sprung. It wants to come back into position, but it doesn't feel particularly heavy or lumbersome to use. Overall refinement's very good. Again, it retains that quality feel. What is disappointing though is wind noise on the motorway, and it's coming from this B pillar, so whether there's a seal not quite connected properly, I'm not sure, but that's pretty unusual and disappointing. On the motorway, deploy the lane assist and it works very well. It's nice and smooth, so you don't feel like you're being pinballed down the lane. It keeps you pretty central and doesn't snap the wheel to get you back on the line it wants. The i30 really has shone brightly on this test. It's got a comfortable ride, it's good to drive, it's packed full of equipment, and it looks pretty decent as well. It's not as sharp to drive as a Seat Leon or as luxurious as a Volkswagen Golf, but value for money, this thing ticks a lot of boxes. Thanks for watching Driver's Seat. If you've enjoyed today's video, remember to subscribe and let us know in the comment section below what you think of the new i30.